Welcome, moviegoers. How are we doing? Good, good. Do you have your ticket? All right, what do we have here? Real Swell. Good choice. You want to be in Auditorium 44? It's straight ahead and to the right. Enjoy. Daredevil Born Again, Episode 2. Wilson Fisk is settling into his role as mayor of New York, and his first 100 days is approaching. One of his advisors is trying to get him to be more mayoral, trying to get him in touch with a lot of the people he needs to meet and greet. He needs to be seen out in public doing mayor things and getting the support of the people, specifically those people who didn't necessarily want him in office. She also makes a point to let him know that it would be nice if he was seen with his wife showing support. Vanessa is estranged emotionally because of Wilson's injury in the Echo series and the result it had on him and their marriage. They are in a rocky place, and while he was out, she was alone, but still also had to run the empire. And she now needs to reacclimate herself to having Fisk back in her life as a husband and as a potential kingpin still of New York. Either it's by replacing her again as the actual leader of that empire, but also kingpin of New York by way of being the mayor. So while all of that is going on, they are on their way to some event and they are stuck in traffic because there's this it's not really a pothole, it's kind of like a meteorite hit the street. It's a huge sinkhole, actually. I guess that's what we can call it. And there's a traffic jam, and Wilson and his team are stuck. There's cars blowing their horn, and everyone just impatiently trying to drive around the sinkhole. Well, Fisk gets out of his car and he walks up to it and he says, "Hey, foreman, fill this hole in right now. I'm trying to get somewhere and this traffic jam is crazy." Well, the foreman says, "We can't because of some red tape. They have to get some permits approved. They're waiting on the go ahead to fill in this hole." Well, as the mayor, he has that authority. So he makes the call. He says, "It's approved. Please fill in this sinkhole." And there are people all around with their phones out. They're capturing this and getting ready to post it to social media. And he makes a snarky comment to his advisor. He's like, "Is this the optics that you were talking about?" And of course, that is what she meant. Now, Matt finds himself a new case. There's a particular gentleman who is walking through the subway. He's on his way home, and he notices a man being assaulted by two other individuals. And he, out of the kindness of his heart and knowing that this man is being jumped for no reason, presumably, he goes over and just tries to break up the fight. Like, "What's going on here? Why are you two assaulting this man?" It doesn't seem like he can defend himself. Like, what's this altercation about? Well, of course, the two of them, they tell him to stay out of it. They kind of try to rough him up as well. And the person who was being assaulted originally, he runs off. While Hector is his name, he fights off these two other gentlemen. Well, down below the subway, there's trains running by. Well, predictably, during the scuffle, one of the guys falls into the train or onto the train tracks as the train is coming. He gets hit, he dies. The very next scene is the other of the two gentlemen pulls out a badge and a gun that says NYPD, don't move. So now we've got this story of these two cops assaulting this man for reasons unknown. Someone comes to try to help, unbeknownst to him. These are two officers assaulting this man for reasons unknown, and now he's under arrest. And the story is that this man killed this other police officer, and that's it. No other details. So he gets put in jail, and of course, as a cop killer, he gets treated as such. During his arraignment, he is shown to have bruises and a bloodied face, and he even mentions that while he's in holding, inmates and cops and the correctional officers, they're all taking their turns getting their hits in. Matt is in this precinct, and he is actually about to leave, and he hears someone being beaten. And as he's walking out, he hears all of this, and he turns around, and he finds the name of the gentleman being held in this particular room where he heard that altercation, and it's Hector. And he walks in, and he asks him about the bruises on his face and all of the blood. And he says, Hector does, yeah, they've been tuning me up all day. They think I killed this cop. It wasn't really like that. I didn't go out to murder him. There's my side of the story here. And Matt believes him because through his interrogation techniques, he can hear pulse, hear your heart rate, and hear your breathing. He's kind of a human lie detector. We know that. So he believes Hector because what we saw is actually true. He was just minding his own business, trying to help somebody out, got into an altercation, and an unfortunate thing happened that one of the cops fell into this train. So he decides to take on Hector as a client to defend him against whatever charges are being brought against him. Well, it turns out it's first-degree murder, second-degree murder, and manslaughter for killing this officer. Now, of course, the police department, they don't know either the actual details. All they know is the story from the remaining officer is this random guy decided to pick a fight with two police officers and threw one of them into the subway. Now, it turns out that, of course, those two cops were nefarious characters, to say the least. We, again, don't know the full story, but one of them, the one remaining, he goes on a mission to find where the witness is. The guy who ran away, the guy who Hector saved, he's still out there, and he is the one person who can clear all of this up. And of course, that shady cop can't have him alive to tell his story. During all of that, Matt and the therapist from the first episode, what is her name? Well, she also takes on a new client, a couple, actually. And by couple, I mean two married people, the Fisks. They decide to enter into marriage counseling because Wilson truly loves his wife and doesn't want to lose her. Also, he's mayor, and he needs to try to figure out how they can reconcile so that the optics are also positive. And of course, there's Vanessa, who is also dealing with where their marriage is right now. Who is this man sitting next to her? Is it her husband? Is it a broken man still? Can he still be Wilson? The Wilson she knew before she lost him, metaphorically. Wilson is also at risk of losing the police department as a whole because he was kingpin at one point. The cops don't really like him, naturally. And the police commissioner is getting ready to retire. And once he retires, the majority of the police force either plans to not listen to whatever Wilson has to say, or they're going to quit as well. And he can't have that. He can't let the police force not be behind him as he tries to build the city, as he tries to gain the trust and support of the people of New York. If the police department doesn't trust him and can't get behind him and can't support him, how are the people going to? Well, he shows up to the funeral of the slain police officer, and he has a conversation with the retiring commissioner. And the commissioner essentially says straight up, "You're still Kingpin. I don't trust you. I don't know what made you even come to this funeral. Um, why are you here?" It's actually very disrespectful for the Kingpin to show up to a funeral knowing that he's killed very many police officers in his lifetime. Like, why are you doing this? And we get this kind of theme that men don't change. Kingpin is always going to be Wilson Fisk. Wilson Fisk, whether he's mayor or not, is still the Kingpin, either in the majority of people's eyes and also deep down within Fisk. So he kind of struggles with that, and he knows he can't lose the police force, but he also doesn't know how to keep it, being Wilson. The Kingpin knows how to do that. The Kingpin is very capable of finding dirt on the commissioner. For example, he has a secret love child that he's trying to keep out of the public eye. The Kingpin would know how to blackmail the commissioner to keep him from retiring and keep the support of the police department. The Kingpin knows how to do that, and that's exactly what the Kingpin does. So he has bought, essentially, the police force. He has that backing. And what one of his goals is to make people feel safe again. And he sneak disses Spider-Man, he sneak disses Punisher, and he sneak disses Daredevil. He essentially says something to the effect of, we don't need people running around in Spider-Man costumes. We don't need people running around with guns wearing skulls on their chest, and we don't need anybody dressing up like the devil protecting our city. We can do that. He says that in a press conference. I thought it was hilarious. Now, the remaining officer has been in communication with one of his other cohorts, one who wasn't in the subway, and they've located this witness. They know where he is, and they're going to go get him. And by get him, they're going to go kill him. Because again, he can't bring light to what actually happened that night. So Matt calls up one of his PIs and says, "Hey, go to this location. I'm going to send you this witness." Because Matt's going to go to the witness's apartment because he heard over the phone the other officer saying, "We found him. Here's the address." So he meets those officers there. Well, first he tells the witness to leave and go meet his PI friend at this location so that he can be saved. Well, the officers come into the apartment and they're looking around, and Matt's just standing there like, "Hey, he's not here anymore. I don't know what to tell you. I'm actually blind, so I don't know where he went." I thought that was also funny. But the two officers then proceed to beat up Matt, and they do a number on him. They've got him on the ground, they're kicking him, they're stomping him out. Well, something clicks in Matt, and Daredevil comes out. He annihilates these two men, and he kills both of them, actually. In self-defense, of course, but you could see that it wasn't just some person defending themselves. You could see that that was Daredevil exacting justice. And Matt even has this realization, and he just screams because he knows what just happened. He knows what just came out of him. This part of himself who he's been trying to bottle up. One, because again, as in the first episode, he doesn't believe it's doing any good. And two, he's got Wilson Fisk watching him. So the optics are Daredevil is still alive and well, and so is the Kingpin. Now, neither of those two know that the other two have crossed that line that they agreed not to cross, but we're going to get there. Wilson Fisk, I noticed, has bloodied knuckles. That isn't explained, and he hasn't been in any altercation. And they make a point to show you his bloody knuckles. but we don't know what he's been punching or who he's been punching. It's very interesting. There's one other character who has been introduced officially. She's a reporter. Her goes by BB, and she does a lot of the social media reporting that we see scattered throughout both of these episodes, really. She runs the BB report. She weasels herself an interview with Wilson and essentially plants in his head that he can't lose the police force. That's why he goes to the funeral. That's why the Kingpin does Kingpin things to secure he still has the police force behind him. And Wilson knows who her uncle is and where she got her namesake, BB. She's named after her uncle, who's Ben Urich. And we'll find out who that is in a coming episode, I'm sure. Another thing that we'll get more information on is Hector. Hector happens to be White Tiger. And White Tiger wasn't in the subway. And White Tiger isn't the person who threw that cop into the subway. But if it gets out that he is a vigilante, then the optics of that are going to be terrible for his defense case. Matt was able to at least convince the judge that that particular piece of information shouldn't be given to the juror. We'll see how it plays out in court and in the public if that information gets leaked and things go awry. But admittedly, Matt's got bigger problems because he just killed 2 police officers. How is he going to explain that? So, next week, we will hopefully get a lot of these answers, and I can't wait for them. Oh, before I go, I do want to mention that the fight scenes in this episode are all practical, and I'm really glad we've gotten back to that. I don't know what the rest of the series will hold, but there was no CGI in any of these fight scenes, and it was great. Thank you for coming to this screening of Real Swell. I hope you enjoy. As you head out, I've got 3 things to ask of you. 1, pick up your trash. These ushers don't get paid enough. Number 2, make sure you are following so you don't miss the next screening. And number 3, hit that heart for me. I'll see you all next time. Make sure you've got your ticket.